Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday here in South Dakota, and I just dropped my preschooler off at school, and I'm on the way home. And what I'm going to do when I get home is put our food together for the day, so I thought I would jump on here and tell you a little bit about what I do to keep my family eating relatively healthy, to keep myself hitting my goals while we are busy on the road. And as you know, most of you, my name is Rachel. And I help moms just fit all the stuff into their schedule that they need to do every day so that they can be successful with their weight loss, so that they can have less stress, and they can just thrive with their life and their kids. And most of all, of course, have a ton of energy to do it all with. So, in case you don't know, we have 6 kids. My girls are gymnasts, and our gym is 45 minutes away. So every day we leave at noon to go down to the gym, and then we are there for the rest of the day until we get home now at 8 o'clock at night. So that means that we are eating for sure dinner, for sure a snack, and sometimes we are eating lunch in the car on the go as well. In fact, my 2 little girls are actually already at gymnastics, and so when we get to the gym with my older girls, I have to bring the little girls some lunch. So I do a lot of pre-planning and taking meals ahead. Now, my number one suggestion for you moms out there that are trying, excuse me, I tried to hold that cough off, it didn't work, that are trying to lose weight or build some muscle or have some health and fitness goals is to follow a meal plan. And I will tell you, ladies, I resisted this for a long time. I told myself, I know how to eat, and I know what kind of things I need to eat in order to make myself feel good and to eat healthy and meet my goals. And last January, I was faced with a challenge. There was a new program out, and I was getting a bunch of people on board doing it. And I was like, Rachel, you're going to have to follow this meal plan. So I did it, and it was the best decision I ever made because I got major, amazing results that I had never gotten before with all the stuff I had done in my life. I got really good results, and I feel like I finally got control over what I was eating. I found ways to fit the healthy foods into my day-to-day activities and my our busy schedule, and I just had so much more energy. My face broke out less. My monthly period symptoms were less. There were so many amazing things about doing this meal plan, and it is something I will never turn back on. Now, I don't follow it as strict as I did for those first 3 months. I have ice cream now and again, and when I go out to eat, I have a hamburger and cheeseburger and french fries, but I do follow it for the most part. My life is better for it. And the other thing that came out of it was I am eating real food and I'm able to plan it ahead of time, and I'm going to tell you a little bit how I do that. In the past, what I did when I told myself I knew what I was doing was I'd go to the grocery store and I'd buy 5 for $10 lean cuisine meals, and I'd grab one of those and eat it. It was never enough food. It's packed with preservatives and things you probably don't want to be eating all the time, and they really weren't. They're very good. And so now what I've done is I kind of have created my own little TV dinners at home, and I'll tell you how I do that in just a minute. I also relied a lot on protein bars. That was kind of like my quote breakfast in the morning. So I drink my shake right after I worked out, and I'd have a protein bar at 10, and I'd have another one at 3. At noon, I'd have my Shakeology, and then in the evening, I'd eat this frozen dinner, and that was kind of my meal planning. It was never enough protein. It was never any veggies. It was never enough to truly get me results and help me feel good and energized. So in last January, I changed all of that. And like I said earlier, it has been totally for the better. And so if you want any details on exactly what I'm following and what I'm doing, shoot me a message, and I can give you a little bit more information about the exact details of it. But what I want to share with you now is kind of what I do in order to fit in healthy meals for myself and for my family. Because what we used to do kind of last year, I would grab corn dogs, or my kids would eat TV dinners, or we'd grab little mini pizzas that we could warm in the microwave, because those were quick and easy things I could grab out of the freezer and throw in our cooler, and I could microwave them. And this was spurred a little bit from my own meal planning stuff, but also my 15-year-old daughter is wanting to eat healthier and have more energy for gymnastics, and so she's been wanting to do some meal planning, and so we've been working on some things that we can do for all the kids so that everybody's got healthy foods to eat in their and they're readily available. So the second tip I have, the first one was pick a meal plan and follow it, because it will make your life easier. At first, it's going to seem difficult and hard, and I can't do all this, and I don't have enough time to plan it all, but it's going to make your life so much easier, I promise. So my second tip is make the foods readily available. So a few things that you can do in that respect is do things like when you get home with the veggies, cut them all up and put them in a big Tupperware container. so that you can just grab and go with them. You're more likely to grab and go with them than you are to, oh shoot, I still have to cut up that cucumber, or I've got to wash those peppers and cut them or whatever. They're readily available. Fruits are a little more difficult, I find. I like to wash the grapes up right away. The apples, we get them washed up, but I like to cut the apples for the kids, because then they get the most of the apple, rather than when they bite off of it, they only eat like half the apple, and you've got this core. So I usually cut the apples, invest in a good apple cutter, so that you can cut the apples super quick. I throw them in a Ziploc bag. I probably cut up like 4 of them, and that goes in our cooler for my kids' fruit for the day. So get fruits and veggies as ready as you can and have them readily available. I will say one of the things that drives me nuts about fruit and veggies is that the kids eat them all faster than I can buy them, and I feel like I'm always at the grocery store buying more fruits and veggies. I know it's a bad problem to have, right? So the other thing I do to have things readily available is I buy those single-serve yogurts. They're a little bit more expensive, but then they're ready. So when I pack the cooler, I grab like 4 of those. So now I've got a huge bag of cut up apples, and I've got about 4 containers of yogurts in the cooler all ready to go. Things like string cheeses are good for kids to have readily available. And again, quick, throw them in there. I will get things like summer sausage or meat. I know it's not the healthiest kind of meat out there, but again, it's readily available, and I try to keep that cut up. So again, I've got something to eat on the fly. Now, as far as prepared foods, having them readily available. A few weeks ago, I went on Amazon and I bought 20. They're plastic, but they say they're BPA free and all the freeze on them, dishwasher safe, microwave safe, all that. Containers. So whatever type of container you like to use, I do have some glass containers. Those are a little bit harder because they don't divide, and then they don't seal up quite as well as the other ones do. But I have a ton of those containers, and on weekends, I make a ton of food. So it takes just as much time to make 1 chicken breast as it does to make 10. I've done chicken drummies in our air fryer. You can only do 3 at a time, but in an hour I can cook 6 of them, and that's going to be a meal for a couple of nights. Make things ahead of time. Chicken breast, you can put, the air fryer, by the way, is a godsend because you can throw anything in there, but or broil things. Fish, chicken, steak, burgers, any meat, pork chops, make a ton of it up ahead of time, and then you've got it all ready to go. So what I do then in the morning is I make up a batch of noodles. I try to go with whole grain. I'm getting my kids kind of into them. Whole grain noodles and meat. And I take those little containers, I put the noodles on one side, the meat on the other, I seal it up, and I throw it in our cooler. I also will, on weekends, if I've got a ton of extra time, make a ton of noodles and a ton of meat, put them in the container, seal them up, and I throw them in the freezer. So now I just need to grab a meal, and we're ready to go. So now we've got the apples, we've got the yogurt, we've got the actual meal that they're going to eat in the cooler. And then I throw some ice in there, and then now we've got their dinner. And so that's one of the biggest time-saving tips that I have found. I do the same thing with myself. I make up a ton of brown rice, a ton of chicken breasts, a ton of lean steak, and then I've got those things in the freezer all ready to go, and I just grab my container, I scoop in my container of rice, and then I put my meat in there, and I put the cover on it, and then I've got a meal to go. Other things that I'm eating in my meal plan are things like almonds, sunflower seeds. Again, I just scoop those up and have them completely ready to go and pack them in the cooler. So when we leave at noon today, I will have lunch for my 2 little girls, and then I'll have dinner for 4 girls and myself in the cooler, along with my shake and that kind of thing in there as well. And that has just done amazing things. I was spending a ton of time in the morning trying to get food ready, trying to figure out, what should we eat today? And now I've just got all that stuff readily available. Some other things that I do for different meal ideas is eggs. You can warm up scrambled eggs. My little girls love it when I scramble up a couple of eggs for each of them, and then I toast a waffle. I throw that in my little containers, and then when we get to the gym, I warm it up, and they put a little peanut butter on their waffle. Okay, the waffle's not totally crispy, but they still eat it. They still like it, and they eat their eggs. And now they're getting, and then they have their apples or grapes or a veggie, and they're getting their protein, they're getting some carbs, they're getting a healthy fat, and then they're also getting the fruit or veggie along with their meal as well. And again, it really doesn't take a lot of time. My older daughter has been eating flat wraps. You can get those wraps. I bought them at Costco with a couple of eggs in it as well. Now she's getting her healthy carb and her protein, and then she is doing a veggie along with it. And what did I miss in that scenario? Healthy carb, protein, totally drawing a blank there on what I'm missing. Carb, veggie, healthy fat, and I got it all. I guess it's all in that meal. So there are so many different ways and different combinations that you can do. And I'm going to do a meal planning master class or a workshop later this week. And I'm going to get the time sent out to you if you want to let me know down in the video what time would work the best for you, morning, afternoon, or evening, so that I can set it up when most people can be on. We're going to do Zoom where you can ask questions. I'm going to give some other different food things. I'm going to go through stuff in my kitchen. I'm assuming that I'm home and I can kind of show you some of the little things that I do in order to make my food prep easy. And I'm going to give some meal ideas. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the meal plan that I follow and that type of thing, because the meal planning part I have found with the health and fitness is really a bigger part of it. I have not missed a workout in I don't know how long, because that's really important to me, but I wasn't always getting my results because I wasn't putting the meal planning piece in it. I'm not saying there's not a place for frozen dinners, running to McDonald's for a salad, or eating a protein bar, because I still do those things on occasion when push comes to shove, but those times are coming less and less, and I'm finding that I'm getting better results and I just feel better because I'm not resorting to those quick fixes. I've got my own kind of quick fixes. So meal planning is going to seem hard at first when you're just getting into it and you're trying to figure out what you're going to eat, but in the long run, it is going to serve you so well. It's going to be good for your kids, it's going to be good for you, and it's just going to be good for everybody. So there is a way to fit it in no matter how busy you are. Follow a meal plan and have things readily available that you can just throw in a cooler. And ladies, it's okay to repeat stuff. I can't tell you how many days when I first started this meal plan, I was eating for my dinner chicken breasts, pumpkin seeds, and a veggie, because that was what I knew I needed. And so I know every day when I walk out the door, I need to grab 2 servings of veggies, my almonds, my pumpkin seeds, and my protein and my shake. And I know that I've got the combination of things that I need. And the more and more you get used to doing it, you can change up those proteins. You can maybe change up the almonds with something different. But when you first start, it's going to be pretty regimented. It's going to be pretty similar to what you ate the day before. But that's okay, because you're getting yourself in the habit of following that meal plan. So I hope this was helpful for you. I am home, and my son and I are going to work on getting the garage door hooked up to the thing in the car. So that's our project this morning. Have a really good day. Share this with anybody that does not think they have time to eat healthy and fit that meal plan, because there are ways to do it, I promise you. But stop telling yourself you're too busy to do things, because we always have time for the things that we want to do. So have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.